Okay, today is tomorrow with the glue up on our legs. So we will unclamp our legs. And here we have individual legs. And here we have the rust from the glue and the metal from the clamps. So again, to mitigate that or to prevent that, we could put some paper towel between the wood and the clamp. In this case, we know we're going to take a bunch of material off, so we're going to just leave it there, scrape the glue, and then plane it down. You also notice that I got 3 legs here on the bench, and I got a big piece of wood here. Sometimes when you do that technique where you don't put glue between the spots you don't want the glue, it still sticks somehow. If you kind of give it a little tap, it pops off. So we're good there. So I'm going to go ahead and make these legs. This is my spare one because it's got that big crack and it's also got the side. I'm going to go ahead and scrape the glue off of these and joint the edge and go from there. So let's start with scraping the glue off. Put the microphone on my lapel here too. Oh, the microphone's not even plugged in. Perfect. All right, so we'll scrape the glue off with the glue scraper on one edge and do that on all of my legs here. Make sure to have the glasses on because the glue can get in your eyeball. Finish that off. Okay, I got all the glue scraped off on all of the more or less flat sides. Remember how we had one edge was jointed and the other one was kind of ragged? So obviously this one's the ragged edge here. So we're just gonna focus on rejoining and making this nice and even on the edge that's already more or less flat. So we're gonna run it through the joiner a few times, or maybe once or twice, depending on how many we need to make it flat. And then we'll go to the table saw and make some cuts on the table saw. So let me get you adjusted here on the joiner. I'll get the dust collector on, make a few cuts, and we'll go from there. So we're almost there. I got a little bit more glue to take off. That looks nice and clean. Let's check to make sure if it's square or not. That looks good. Okay, so I'll go ahead and finish the rest of them off camera. Alright, I'm at the table saw now, and what I'm going to do is take our legs that we just jointed, put a nice flat base here, a nice flat edge here. And we're going to put that jointed edge against the fence and rip this down to 1.5. Double check to make sure my blade is square to my table, which it is. I'll set my blade for 1.5 inches and make 2 cuts here. Let me get my height set. I'm gonna make 1 cut that way, flip it, and make another cut. And that'll give me a leg that's 1.5 inches by 1.5 inches. I'll finish the rest off camera. Off camera, I got my legs cut 1.5 inches by 1.5 inches on the table saw. Now I need to cross cut them on the miter saw or chop saw to 11 1/4. To do that, the first thing I'm going to do is take and cut a little bit off of here to make it nice and even. So that's called squaring an end. So I'll go ahead and do that in all of them. So there we go, nice and even. So again, go ahead and buzz all of those through. Alright, so all their legs now have one square edge. We're going to use that square edge up against the stop block to make all of these 11 1/4 inches long. So I'll make a mark 11 1/4. Use my square to lengthen that line like you've done before. There we have it. There's our line. And we're going to set our blade just like you normally would. So we're going to cut on the waist side of that cut like we talked about. So it looks just something like that. We can still see the line a little bit. And we're going to set up our stop block, which is just a piece of wood clamped to the fence where we want it to be, so that way we don't have to measure each piece. So what I got here is just a piece of wood clamped to the fence so that when I butt my square piece up, I can make my cut and they're all going to be the same size over and over again without having to measure and mark each piece. And that way you just put your square end up there, make your cut, square end up, sorry for being in the way there. Is that better? And the last one. Okay, so there we have it. All of our legs are now complete. Again, I have an extra one. And that's a good start to your legs.